Picture this. It's a Saturday morning. You walk into a car dealership. The floors are polished. The lighting is perfect. The cars sitting on the showroom floor look like something from a movie. A salesperson walks over, smiling, friendly, not pushy at all. They hand you the keys to a brand new car and say, "Go ahead, take it for a spin." You get in. It smells incredible. That smell alone does something to your brain that no financial advisor can fully compete with. The seats are spotless. The dashboard glows. Everything responds to your touch like it was built specifically for you. You pull out of the lot, windows down, and for about 15 minutes you feel like a completely different person. You feel successful. You feel like you made it. You feel like this is what all the hard work was for. And then you drive back to the dealership. You sign the papers. You drive home in your brand new car. And in that exact moment, before you even pull into your driveway, you have already lost more money than most people lose in an entire year of bad financial decisions. You just don't feel it yet, because the smell is still too good. Here's the belief that gets most people into serious financial trouble before they ever realize what happened. The belief goes like this: a car is a necessary purchase, so it makes sense to buy the best one you can afford. You're going to spend a lot of time in it. It represents you professionally, it should be reliable, and besides, you're making payments you can handle. So what's the problem? This reasoning feels completely logical, and that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. Because the problem isn't the car. The problem is the definition of afford. And the way most people define that word when they're sitting in a showroom, surrounded by new car smell and a friendly salesperson, is completely disconnected from what it actually means for their financial future. Most people define afford as, can I make the monthly payment? That is one of the most expensive definitions of a word in the entire financial dictionary, and until you replace it with a better definition, one that accounts for the full cost of what you're actually buying, you will keep making decisions that feel smart in the showroom and reveal themselves as financial wounds over the following years. Let's follow Mark. Mark is 26. He just landed a solid new job. His income went up and he feels good about where things are heading. He's been driving a used car for 3 years and it's fine. But it's old and he's tired of it. He feels like he's earned an upgrade. He goes to the dealership and finds a car he loves. It's $35,000. He puts nothing down. The salesperson assures him that's completely normal. His monthly payment comes out to $580 over 60 months at 7% interest. Mark thinks, I can handle $508 a month. That's totally manageable. And he's right. He can handle it. The payment doesn't break him. He drives home happy. But let's look at what actually just happened to Mark's money. First, the moment Mark drove that car off the lot, it lost roughly 10 to 15% of its value. On a $35,000 car, that's somewhere between $3,500 and $5,000. Gone. Before he even got home, before he made a single payment. This is called depreciation, and it is the financial equivalent of lighting money on fire in slow motion. By the end of year 1, the car is worth about $26,000. Mark still owes close to $30,000 on it. He is already underwater, meaning he owes more than the car is worth. If something happened tomorrow and he needed to sell it, he would still be in debt after the sale. By year 3, the car is worth around $20,000. Mark has paid over $20,000 in payments. He has barely kept pace with what the car has lost in value. By the end of 5 years, Mark has paid approximately $3,400 in total payments. The car is now worth maybe $14,000. The total cost of ownership, payments plus interest, was nearly $35,000 for an asset now worth less than half that. And that's before insurance, which is higher on new cars, before registration fees, before maintenance, before the quiet psychological cost of being locked into a fixed monthly obligation for 5 straight years. Mark didn't just buy a car. Mark bought a 5-year commitment to an asset that loses value every single day he owns it. Here's where it gets important. Most people calculate the cost of a car purchase as monthly payment multiplied by number of months. That gives them the loan total, and they compare that to their income and decide if it fits. But that calculation is missing the most important number, the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is simply this. What could that money have done instead? Let's go back to Mark's $580 monthly payment. Over 5 years, that's roughly $4,800 in total payments. Now let's imagine an alternate version of Mark. Let's call him Aware Mark, who bought a reliable used car for $8,000, cash, and had no car payment at all. Aware Mark takes that same $580 every month and puts it into an index fund instead. Over 5 years at an average annual return of 10%. Aware Mark's $580 monthly investment grows to approximately $44,000 Original Mark has a 5-year-old car worth $14,000. Aware Mark has $44,000 in investments and a paid-off car. Same income, same 5 years. Completely different financial reality. That gap, $30,000 in real wealth, is the true cost of the new car decision. Not the monthly payment, not even the total loan. The true cost is what that money could have quietly been building in the background while the car was silently losing value in the driveway. This is the calculation the dealership will never show you on their whiteboard. So why do smart, financially aware people keep making this decision? Why does it happen over and over and over again, even when people know intellectually that new cars depreciate? The answer is one of the most well-documented phenomena in behavioral psychology. It's called hedonic adaptation combined with social signaling, and it's a two-headed financial monster. Hedonic adaptation means that human beings adjust to new circumstances remarkably quickly. The happiness you feel from a new car, that Saturday morning showroom feeling, has a very specific shelf life. Research consistently shows it fades within weeks, sometimes days. The new car smell disappears. The novelty wears off. The seats that felt luxurious now just feel like seats. And you're left with the payment, the depreciation, and a car that feels completely normal, locked in for another 4.5 years. But before the feeling fades, it felt so real and so certain that your brain registered it as permanent. This is why people convince themselves the car is worth it in the moment. Because in the moment, the emotional return feels enormous. The brain simply cannot accurately predict how quickly it will adapt and stop feeling that way. The second force is social signaling. Cars are one of the most visible status markers in modern society. They sit in driveways. They follow you into parking lots. They're seen by colleagues, neighbors, family members. And human beings are wired, deeply and evolutionarily, to care about social positioning. A car isn't just transportation. For most people, it's a broadcast. It's a signal to the world, and more importantly to themselves, about where they stand. This is why the new car decision often has almost nothing to do with transportation and almost everything to do with identity. Mark didn't need a $35,000 car to get to work. He needed a $35,000 car to feel like someone who has a $35,000 car. And that distinction, between what something does and what it makes you feel like, is at the heart of nearly every expensive financial mistake people make. The dealership knows this. Their entire environment is engineered around it. The lighting, the smell, the test drive, the friendly low-pressure salesperson, the monthly payment framing that hides the total cost, all of it is designed to activate your emotional brain and quietly sideline your logical one. You are not making a transportation decision in a dealership. You are navigating a psychological experience that was built by professionals, specifically to result in one outcome. So what should you actually do? 3 clear principles. First, buy used and buy smart. The sweet spot most financial experts. Point 2 is a car that is 2 to 4 years old with reasonable mileage. Why? Because the original owner absorbed the steepest depreciation curve, that brutal 15 to 20%. First-year drop has already happened. You get a car that is functionally nearly identical to new, often still under warranty, at a significantly lower price. You let someone else pay the new car premium. This single decision made once can be worth tens of thousands of dollars over a decade of driving. Second, reframe what the payment actually costs. Every time you look at a monthly car payment, convert it into its investment equivalent. $500 a month for 60 months isn't just $30,000. At historical market returns, it's closer to $38,000 to $40,000 in lost investment growth. Seeing the number that way changes how it feels. It should, because that's the real number. Third, detach your identity from your vehicle. This is the hardest one, but it is the most important. The wealthy people who quietly accumulate real financial security are almost universally known for driving cars that don't match their net worth. Warren Buffett drove the same modest car for years. The research on actual millionaires, not the ones who look wealthy but the ones who are, consistently shows they prioritize assets that grow over assets that signal. A car is a tool. Let it be a tool. Save the identity investment for things that actually compound. If you found this video useful and want more content about money psychology, wealth building, and the financial decisions that actually matter, subscribe to Mark Finance Hub. Every video is built to give you the kind of financial clarity that changes how you think, not just how you feel in the moment. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. The new car smell is one of the most expensive smells in the world. Not because cars are evil or because wanting nice things is wrong, but because that smell comes pre-packaged with a psychological experience designed to make a financial decision, feel like an emotional reward, And those two things should never be in charge of each other. The version of you that signs the papers in the showroom is not thinking about the version of you sitting 5 years from now with a paid-off investment, account, and real financial options. They're thinking about how they feel right now, in this seat, with this smell, with this salesperson nodding and smiling. Real wealth is built by the decisions that don't feel exciting in the moment. The used car that gets you from point A to point B, while your money quietly compounds in the background, will never give you that Saturday morning showroom feeling. But 5 years from now, it will give you something that feeling never could. Options. Freedom. The ability to make choices, from abundance instead of obligation. That is worth more than any new car on any showroom floor. Drive accordingly.